You didn't notice when it happened. That's the first detail worth keeping. The first thread worth pulling. There was no interruption. No rupture in the fabric of things. No moment you could point to and say, this is where things shifted. This is the line between before and after. Life continued at its usual pace. Days followed days in their predictable procession. Tasks resolved themselves the way they always had. Routines maintained their comforting rhythm. Nothing broke. Nothing demanded attention. Nothing screamed for acknowledgement. And yet, something moved, quietly, while you were still facing forward. While your eyes were trained on the familiar horizon. While you were attending to what you thought mattered. Not an event. Not a crisis. Not a revelation. A recalibration. A subtle adjustment in the underlying structure. A shift in the baseline that nobody announced. Places began responding differently. Not dramatically. Not with violence or suddenness. Not enough to alarm you or trigger immediate awareness. The cafe you used to enter without thinking now feels slightly misaligned. The geometry hasn't changed, but the atmosphere has. You hesitate before choosing a seat. Your body pauses where it used to move automatically. Not because something is wrong, but because the room no longer settles around you the same way. Because the space no longer reflexively accommodates your presence. Streets feel marginally longer. Not measurably, not provably, but your legs register the difference. Your breath marks the extra distance. Rooms feel marginally narrower. The walls haven't moved inward, yet the air between you and them feels denser, more resistant, not hostile, never hostile, just less cooperative, less welcoming without being unwelcoming, as if the world adjusted its measurements and forgot to notify you, as if reality recalibrated its baseline settings, and you were still operating on the old parameters. People are still themselves. Their faces haven't changed. Their voices haven't altered pitch or tone. Their habits remain intact. Their patterns continue uninterrupted. Their laughter still arrives on cue. But timing is off. Conversations pause half a second too long. That invisible gap between statement and response has widened imperceptibly. Responses arrive slightly late. Not enough to be rude. Just enough to feel slightly out of sync. Jokes land without friction and without resonance. They're acknowledged but not absorbed. Heard but not felt. You are present. You are polite. You are functioning at full capacity. All your social mechanisms remain operational. Yet something about the exchange feels asynchronous, like two clocks that still work perfectly, but no longer mark the same minute. Like two instruments playing the same song, but in slightly different keys. Without deciding to, you begin compensating. Without conscious strategy or deliberate planning. You speak less, not from withdrawal but from precision. Not from fear or insecurity, but from a growing sense that words need to be measured more carefully now. Certain explanations no longer feel necessary. What once required justification now stands on its own. Certain opinions no longer feel urgent. What once demanded expression now rests comfortably in silence. Your posture adjusts. Your shoulders settle differently. Your spine finds a new alignment. Your pace softens. Your stride shortens imperceptibly. Your urgency dissipates without you noticing. Your attention becomes selective in ways you can't fully justify. You find yourself focusing intensely on some things, while letting others blur into the periphery. You aren't changing yourself. You aren't making deliberate alterations to your behavior. You're responding to something that already has changed. You're adapting to a new environment that installed itself while you weren't looking. Eventually, the unfamiliar becomes routine. The weight you once noticed stops standing out. It becomes part of the baseline, part of what normal feels like now. The hesitation becomes automatic. You no longer recognize it as hesitation. It's simply how you move now. The distance feels normal. What once felt like separation now registers as appropriate spacing. You stop checking whether something is off and start moving as if this is how things have always been. Your body stops flagging anomalies because nothing registers as anomalous anymore. That's when the shift completes. Not when you notice it, But when you stop questioning it, not when it arrives, but when it becomes invisible through familiarity. There was no signal marking your inclusion, no ceremony, no acknowledgement, no voice welcoming you to a new category, no instruction manual for your new classification. But systems don't require ceremony to register consistency. Patterns speak louder than declarations. You showed up enough times, moved with enough pattern, occupied space with enough regularity, demonstrated enough predictability, and the world, quietly, efficiently, adjusted its response. Without fanfare, without explanation, not to you as a person, not to your identity or your intentions, but to you as a variable, as a data point, as a pattern that can be recognized and categorized. Nothing restricts you. There are no chains. No walls have been erected. No doors have been locked. You can still go anywhere. Speak freely. Choose your days. Make your decisions. Yet you begin choosing differently. Not because of fear. Not because of external pressure. Because of alignment. Because of intuition that speaks before reason can translate. Some paths feel complete before you step onto them. You know their conclusion before you reach the first turn. Some silences feel too dense for casual words. The air itself seems to resist frivolous sound. Some hours ask more awareness than others. Certain times of day carry weight that others don't. You walk lighter now. Your footfall softens. Your presence becomes more considered. Not to avoid impact, but because you understand that impact exists. Because you've learned that everything registers. That nothing is neutral. This is the most unsettling truth. Nothing is wrong. There is no punishment being administered. No cosmic justice being served. No imbalance seeking correction. No hidden threat waiting to surface. No debt being called in. The world is functioning exactly as intended. All systems are operating within normal parameters. And now, so are you. Just not in the same position you once occupied. Not with the same clearance level. Not with the same default permissions. Most people never notice. They keep repeating patterns that no longer resonate, performing gestures that no longer land. They push against spaces that already moved, fighting battles that already concluded. They perform for audiences that quietly left, speaking to rooms that emptied while they were mid-sentence. Those who notice don't gain power. They don't acquire supernatural abilities. They don't transcend into elevated states. They gain accuracy. They stop wasting motion. Stop burning energy on resistance that teaches nothing. Stop forcing timing that refuses to be forced. Stop arguing with conclusions that were reached without debate. Stop negotiating with decisions that were never announced. They don't transcend. They adapt. They recalibrate. They learn the new rhythm and move with it instead of against it. Nothing followed you. No entity tracked your movements. Nothing attached itself to your life like a shadow. No presence waits behind doors. No shadow stretches unnaturally long. No curse was spoken. No hex was cast. And yet, you don't move the same way you once did. Your routes have changed. The paths you take to familiar destinations have altered. Your rhythms refined themselves. Your timing adjusted without permission. Your attention carries more weight. You feel it now, the gravity of focus. The consequence of presence. Because something shifted, without announcing itself, without sending advance notice, without requesting your approval. And once a change becomes structural, once it embeds itself in the foundation, the world doesn't need to react loudly. It only needs to remain consistent, to hold the new pattern, to treat the adjustment as permanent. You didn't notice the change, but everything did. Every system, every pattern, every invisible mechanism that maintains the world's basic functioning. They all registered, they all adjusted, and now they wait, not for you to catch up, but for you to stop pretending you don't already know.